looks like waveform.
Yeah, it sure does. I assume. I don't know. I don't know what they look like. I don't handle the tech stuff. But I know what sound waves look like.
Yeah, kind of like waves.
Yeah, like waves. Yeah.
Yeah, like, have you heard of the ocean?
I've heard Tale of the Ocean, sure. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Yeah, cool.
Also known as the sea.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I've heard stories.
Meso, bloody welcome to Reanimates.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Did you just ease me in Mark Maron style, like as if we were having a regular conversation? I know. I know all the signs when somebody's like, "Hey, tell me a secret about your life." I know. I will never tell a secret about my life. Not once. But it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. What happens on this podcast?
Not much.
Okay, well, I'll go then.
Good to have you. Nah, it's great. We have fun. We look at the films of amazing cult actor Jeffrey Combs.
Why do we do that?
Because
maybe you've addressed this on every episode.
You know what? I don't think I've ever actually done like a really big explainer. I might have done it. Basically, like,
just speak from your heart.
I love Jeffrey Combs.
Do you love his stare?
I love all of his stares. I love all of the like different lip quivers he has. I love the bug eyes from time to time. No, I just I've always been a fan. Like,
what was the first Jeffrey Combs?
The Frighteners.
With Michael J. Fox.
Yes, I originally watched it because at the time I was trying to watch all the films of Michael J. Fox.
And you've fallen out of love with Michael J. Fox.
I will never fall out of love with Michael J. Fox. But his performance in that always stayed with me. So I saw that when I was like 12.
Okay.
I've always loved his films. Like, when I saw Reanimator, I was like, "Hey, that's that guy." And
that's what a character actor wants. That's what they live on. Of people going, "Oh, is that guy like he's all right? That guy."
That's that guy I like. And then in lockdown, I decided lockdown 2020. You remember it. My lockdown project is not going to be baking or sewing or doing anything terribly productive.
It's going to be hard standing.
It's going to be watching all of the films of Jeffrey Combs.
Films and TV shows. You're going to do TV appearances as well.
Yep.
Cool, great.
Why the hell not?
Right? You've got time.
What are we here to do on Earth but enjoy our lives, Meso?
What's interesting about Jeffrey Combs, first of all, thank you for saying it, so now I know how to pronounce his last name.
Yep.
Because it could be Combs. Is that he's in a lot of things. As a that guy, he's in a lot of things that you've probably seen, but you don't necessarily know, because a lot of times he's in makeup. He's in a lot of Star Treks. He's been in Deep Space Nine. He's been in Voyager, I think. He's done a lot of animated work.
Yeah, a lot of voiceover in the last few years, especially.
So if you've come over here from my podcast, The Weekly Planet, you would know him as Conspiracy Lunatic the Question in Justice League Unlimited. You'd know him as the Scarecrow, and he's also Brainiac in the new Injustice game. I say new, that came out years ago.
We have such different reference points.
Right? That he's got that creepy voice.
Yeah, he's great. And he's
You wouldn't say that if just a person you met at the supermarket had that voice. You'd be like, this guy's great with his creepy voice and his breath
some people
on
love,
my neck.
Some people love a creepy
in the line.
voice. You don't know what I'm into, Meso.
Okay, that's a good point, actually.
So, I wanted to get you on for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Mordrid.
Yes.
Master of the Unknown.
Great.
From 1992.
Uh-huh.
Because, unlike me, you're probably a bit more of a comic book movie guy.
Yep.
I would say.
I would say that's my entire personality type. That's all I am, honestly. They'll put that on my gravestone.
And I would argue I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I actually only... I watched the first Doctor Strange recently.
Yes.
Because when I had read about Doctor Mordrid, I had read that it was basically Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So as I understand it, so this is a full moon features film.
It is yet another full moon features.
So
joint.
this is a company that's well known for its B movies. It's what would you call them? I
would call them affordable horror.
Yeah, okay, sure, right.
Yeah.
They've done, I mean, they're still around as far as I know. They
yes.
did They recently did I've become aware they did a film called The Ginger Dead Man, where Gary Busey he's killed and he comes back as a gingerbread man. And then they did Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong, where he fights an evil bong.
And what's not to like about that?
Nothing. I'm saying that with all the positivity I can summon in my heart.
Yeah, it's like, you say those things and it's like, well, that just sounds like the perfect film.
Yeah, right?
I mean, apart from the fact that Jeffrey Combs isn't in it, why would I care?
Yeah. But, so this movie, as I understand it, full moon features, or whatever they were called at the time, because this was the 90s when Marvel was broke, and they were just, I guess, licensing out whatever they had left, they I guess Full Moon Features got the rights to Doctor Strange, and then they expired before they could finish writing the script to this.
Yes, that is also what I heard. I heard that Charles Band, who co-directed this, I heard that he had the rights and just basically they expired or
Never got around to it, which is fascinating because this movie is an hour long. It's an hour long movie, and you couldn't write 60 minutes of script in however long you had this. Madness.
They were waiting for the perfect star.
How did you watch this? Did you steal this off the internet?
No, I don't do that with any of the films I cover on this, Mason.
Good. This was a trap, and you didn't fall for it. It's good.
I actually, probably 10 minutes before you got here, I bought a DVD copy of Doctor Mordrid because I wanted to listen to the audio commentary.
Oh, that's cute.
I'm a fucking nerd, mate.
I watched this on a streaming service that is free because everything on it is bad.
Is that... Does it rhyme with Scooby?
Yes, it does, yeah. Yeah, it's called Tubi is what it is. If you're looking for a Transmorphers, if you're looking for probably a ginger dead man, I don't know.
No, I love Tubi. There's heaps of Jeffrey Combs movies on there. There's heaps of just weird stuff. I think they've got Midsummer Murders. I don't know. They've got a lot of just really surprising stuff, and it's free.
You should get a sponsorship.
If anyone was going to sponsor a Jeffrey Combs podcast, it would be Tubi.
I mean, edit out the part where I said it was bad, and everything on it is bad.
So, as I said, it was directed by Albert Band and Charles Band. Albert Band, probably more of a producer than a director. He did Ghoulies too. Charles Band, a bit more well-known. He... I believe started Full Moon Features. Charles Band also, I mean, yeah, if you're familiar with horror movies, you'll know Charles Band. He did all the Trances movies. So, as I said, I only saw the first Doctor Strange movie recently. I think it's because I'm not generally a comic book movie person, but I really liked Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, okay, cool. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was
and Doctor Strange is in that for a minute, yes.
Briefly, yes. And I thought, amongst the sort of superhero-y movies, I feel like Doctor Strange would be the one I would most like.
Yeah, right, And did you?
Not really.
Because it's just kung fu?
Yeah.
It's just a man who's like, I'm going to do some magic, but then he just does kung fu.
And it makes such a big difference, a script that's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok is such a funny, clever script.
Yeah.
And so that's been my benchmark, which is, most movies aren't going to meet that because they're not all done by Taika Waititi.
No, that's true. And the Marvel Universe has certain entry points, and I think for people who don't like that sort of stuff, and Ragnarok is a good one because it is funny and it does kind of play with the tropes of superhero stuff. But yeah, you're right. If you go into it and then you don't choose your next movie wisely, you're just like, oh, okay.
Well, what would you just to deviate momentarily? What would you recommend as someone who likes Thor Ragnarok? What else should I watch?
The next Thor that's coming out in a year or two. Probably that one. It's not out yet, though.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it.
I mean, that probably is the funniest one. Do you like Chris Evans? Do you like lovable boy next door Chris Evans?
I'm human, aren't I?
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, watch the Captain America ones. They're pretty good. They got heart. They're not funny, necessarily, but they're, Do you like men being smug? Iron Man 1 through 3 through all of them.
I think I've seen the first Iron Man. I remember him eating a cheeseburger.
Yeah, okay, yep.
That's all I've taken away from that movie.
Great.
If you want to know my entry points, I probably prefer the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies as a Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, okay, fair. They're good. They're solid movies, sure.
So if we're going to talk about something like how Doctor Mordrid sits against Doctor Strange.
Oh, yes?
So the budget for the first Doctor Strange I looked up is between 165 to 236 million.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The budget for Doctor Mordrid was estimated to be about $2 million.
Okay, but that's in 1990s dollars.
Yes.
So that's probably about the same, right?
Yeah, it's thereabouts.
Yeah.
So
What do you think most of the budget went on? I reckon the apartment he lives in.
Yeah. That one set.
Yeah.
That was filled with stuff.
But this movie opens on a long pan through Dr. Mordrid's apartment. Mm-hmm. And it's not that interesting. It's like the set. It's like if you were to be on that set, you'd be like, "Oh, that's cool." But if you at the start of this movie, it just sort of pans through his apartment, and it just looks like a room full of stuff, just a study full of stuff.
It's a nice apartment. I mean, it's obscenely big considering the size of the rest of the building.
Yeah, I mean, but this is an Architectural Digest, their YouTube channel, is it? It's a movie.
No.
It's a movie about wizards,
sorcerers.
Okay, right.
How fucking dare you?
Because he doesn't have a hat. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, the things that I definitely noticed immediately were that he's definitely a sorcerer because he has a raven. He has a lot of esoteric-looking books and magical-looking tat. Just a lot of stuff.
Sure. Just assorted garbage. If he's rich, so he's eccentric, but if he were poor, you'd be like, you're a hoarder, mate.
Yeah. We meet Jeffrey Combs immediately. I mean, he's the fucking lead in this movie. It's a dream.
Because he's not. He's rarely the star. I mean, he's the star in Reanimators, but he's not always.
No, he's not as often the lead as I would like. So he's talking to a pair of eyes in the sky. I actually quite like that effect.
Skies.
Thank you. Yep. I quite like that effect. I thought it's quite creepy and pretty.
I reckon we could do that right now with a phone app.
Yeah, but we're in 2021. We're in the brilliant, amazing Mark Zuckerberg future.
I guess that's probably true, yeah.
The eyes, we find out, are someone called Monitor. Mm-hmm. And he is telling us that
the Death's Head will seek you out.
Do you know when?
No, and if I did, I would not stop it.
Death's Head will seek out Doctor Mordrid. So the Death's Head, we're like, all right, that's the enemy. We're meant to... Dr. Mordrid's a good guy. I'm gonna cross it. And then bam! We're in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, We're in Rio de Janeiro with the coolest guy I've ever seen, which is Brian Thompson.
Yep.
Another famous that guy.
Yeah. He is a staggering looking human being. He has the face... He looks like he has been chipped out of stone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's in the X-Files. He's the alien bounty hunter. Mm-hmm. He's Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He's
in Cobra.
Oh, he is in Cobra, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's going through his IMDb. I'm like, he's a working actor. He is in so much stuff, and he's quite. And he also does a lot of voice stuff. You can, I mean, immediately you know with that voice.
I checked his Wikipedia page, and it says he has 2 children, but it doesn't mention a wife or anything. So I'm assuming he just focused really hard, and they came into existence.
He burst them out of his mighty chin.
Wow.
I reckon him and Bruce Campbell need to have a chin off. Bash chins together.
I feel Jeffrey Combs or Bruce Campbell could have done really well in this role as well.
I feel like there's a little bit of crossover. I actually, spoiler alert, I'm probably going to cover Bruce Campbell when I'm finished all of Jeffrey Combs' movies. Wow. Because he's another guy I love.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Bruce Campbell's another one of those just incredibly likable, charismatic actors. So yes, we meet Brian Thompson, who is Cabal. We find out. Yes. This 8-foot tall guy in a linen shirt,
and the coolest sunglasses I've ever seen.
He's just so cool. Everything about him is cool. He does a sort of a spell on these people who are, I think, transferring diamonds, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, and he needs it.
They're transporting some MacGuffins. They need some. Yeah. He needs some stuff. He's got to collect all the stuff.
Yeah. There's a whole plot line of Cabal needing certain alchemy items in order to do a spell.
Yes, correct.
That's
classic evil wizard stuff.
I am not a sorcerer myself. Mm-hmm. I'm just going by what the movie's telling me. When we cut back to Mordred's apartment, he's teleporting in a lovely gold robe.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He lives in this beautiful apartment that is in a kind of a shitty apartment building. Because he goes out and there's a bunch of his neighbors who are arguing about a dog.
I've got many questions.
Yeah.
Because so if we may, let's jump around a bit. Mm-hmm. His whole deal is he's like Doctor Strange. His whole deal is he has to protect the realm of Earth. You know, but he's not from Earth. He's from a wizardly land, presumably
somewhere else.
So his deal was he would come to Earth, purchase a building, and then make people pay to live in the building.
Yeah.
Is that his cover story?
Yeah, I assume so. It also allows him to be independently wealthy because he
can just magic up money.
That's true. I don't know why he couldn't just magic himself up a building out of nothing. Maybe his powers aren't that strong.
Maybe. But surely he owns the building if he's also the landlord.
Yeah, he is, yeah. So I guess, because he's been alive for so long, we find out at least 100 years.
He got the land when it was cheap.
Yeah, exactly. You know, isn't that the American dream?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if he's here to protect the universe or whatever, why is he creaming off the top? You know, why is he?
Because Doctor Mordrid is a filthy capitalist.
Yeah, probably. He's like, well, I got to protect these people, but I'm getting a little piece of that as well. So
It's here that we meet Samantha, played by Yvette Nipar. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
I hope we're pronouncing it wrong.
I don't think she acts anymore because, as far as I can tell, her last role was some years ago. She was a regular in the RoboCop TV series in 1994 as well. But yeah, I didn't see anything recent. So.
Here's a fun fact about Yvette Nipar.
Go on.
I mean, fun is a strong word, but her ex-husband is Patrick McDermott, and he's best known for maybe he faked his own death.
When he was married to her?
No, they divorced, and then he started dating Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, that guy!
And then he fell off a boat or something, and I assume he drowned. I mean, he fell off a boat in the middle of the ocean. Of course, he drowned. But a lot of people are like, no, they go faked his own death. They go. I've seen him.
Wait, so...
I've seen him in the tropics. He's definitely still alive.
Oh, okay, so he's never reappeared?
No.
Okay, yeah.
No, because that would be definitive proof that he faked his own death.
Yeah, it sort of just sounds like he died.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? He hasn't returned in like 15 years, so yeah, he dead.
Yeah,
but that's a fun fact, isn't it?
Was it that bad being married to Olivia Newton-John? She seems nice. Maybe she's a real bitch. I'm sorry.
Wow.
So Samantha is she's a researcher with the NYPD.
But she get no respect.
She doesn't. She's got some slimy co-workers who are real dicks.
That's the NYPD, baby.
Yeah.
That's their slogan. It says, that's the NYPD, baby.
Suck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been more annoyed if they had made the cops really likable in this. So like, Mordrid is watching all of this argument goes on, and that's where he meets Samantha. And there's two things that are hinted at in this. One, that he's been alive for more than 100 years, and he doesn't leave his flat much.
Sure.
So she's like, what's all this about? This guy's mysterious.
And I like it.
Look at his gold robe.
I'm into it. Look how shiny he is.
Yes. So when they've just after they've finished talking, for some reason he decides to use his magic amulet. Then, even though they've had a perfectly polite conversation,
he decides to Men in Black her.
Yeah. So the amulet that he has the ability to basically freeze the other person, kind of like Piper in Charmed.
Yep. Good reference. Yes.
Yes. And then he just sort of slips away,
but just into his house and back into his apartment.
Yeah, it's like,
just leave.
Yeah, you can just say, all right, good night, and then turn around and walk into your house. You didn't need to freeze her up and then make it seem needlessly weird.
Sure. Maybe he's bored, though. Like, oftentimes we'll watch, there'll be these movies or TV shows about people who are immortal or whatever. And they slip, because also he slips up, he's like, yeah, New York was better 100 years ago. I mean, I heard it was. I think he's just bored.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's just bored of a life in this apartment. He's just like, I'm going to spice this up. Nobody said I can't. My boss didn't say that I can't cause some drama because I'm a real messy bitch. So he's just like,
he loves it.
Yeah. So he's just like, I remember New York. No, I don't. Ooh, amulets.
Am I immortal? I'll never tell. Ain't I stinker? Another thing that I like is that Mordrid has a raven called Edgar, who is named after Edgar Allan Poe. Yet another Edgar Allan Poe connection to Jeffrey Combs, and I wonder if that was his doing. Like, I wonder if maybe just in the script the raven just didn't have a name, and maybe Combs was like, hey. Maybe
he brought the raven from home.
I like to think he has a raven, but he probably has a pretty normal life.
No, there's look, until you get him on the show.
Until
there's no way of knowing. So at this point, just assume he's as weird as he is in all his movies.
I don't want him to listen to the show.
Why not?
Oh, I would be so self-conscious.
If it helps, he probably wouldn't listen. He's busy.
I mean, even so one of the Combs heads on the socials.
Yes.
Haven't come up with a good name for the fans yet.
No, that's a good start. I like it.
She had, I think Combs was doing like some sort of online con panel thing, and you can have these little one-on-one video chats, and she uploaded some photos and stuff, and I was like, I just don't think I could. I think I'd be too scared.
No,
I just wouldn't know what to say.
Okay, so Combs heads, you just imagine a body.
Yeah.
So maybe it's wearing a suit and tie, and it's just got a series of combs coming out of the neck hole.
Yeah, like a lion's mane.
Yep.
He also has a bunch of TVs in his flat.
Yes.
Dr. Mordrid, not Jeffrey Combs.
I imagine as a successful working actor, he has many televisions in his home.
All
Lisa?
of his children have their own tellies.
Oh
because
my
he's a
God.
billionaire.
Wow.
Dr. Mordrid, he has all of these TVs so that he can record, global crime reports so that he can keep an eye on stuff.
And he's taping them and he's labeling the little tapes?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if he's a collector or if he's just like, this will be fun to watch later.
Oh, this is a good one. This guy fell over in a convenience store and all his milk fell on him. Funny stuff. I'm saving this for later.
Dr. Mordrid's funniest home videos.
Yes.
He hears about a missing platinum shipment and he's like, that's the first sign.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Later, Samantha goes to a lecture and she gets there so late. She gets there at the fucking end
right
of
at the
it.
end.
Yeah. She goes to a lecture that Dr. Mordrid is conducting called Criminal Minds and the Supernatural.
Ah, yes.
Where he's going on about the connection between like the moon and madness and that sort of stuff.
In San Francisco, a killer who claimed that his actions were dictated by the signs of the zodiac terrorized that city for months. Now, of course, such a defense wouldn't hold up in court, but there is medical precedent for such a claim. The cycles of the moon have been proven to affect the tides, magnetic polarity, and human behavior. The word lunatic comes from the Latin lunus, which means moon. We all know that when things get a little crazy, someone always remarks, there must be a full moon tonight, which explains what you're all doing here.
Classic sorcerer stuff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I like how she showed up so late because the only alternative would be she shows up right on time and then she very quickly falls out of love with this guy. He's like, oh god, this guy isn't intriguing at all. He's boring. Talking about his boring sorcerer stuff. This is so dull. She's on her phone.
Oh, no.
It's a big brick phone.
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There isn't even Snake on it at that point.
That's
She'd
right.
be so bored.
She's just looking at the red lights on it.
The other major hint that we have that Dr. Mordrid is probably older than he says is that he opens an old-timey pocket watch and there's a very old photograph of him and a woman in there.
Mm.
Mordrid also has a big cello in his
Is he?
flat.
I didn't even see that. And he never plays it? No.
You never seen it. I guess it's kind of like how Sherlock Holmes has a violin. Mm-hmm. Just something to keep him busy.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I like the idea of Dr. Mordrid taking a break from saving the world from peril to just bang out some Rachmaninoff.
And he's bad at it.
Oh, he's so bad. He never practices. Mordrid pops on his gown, sort of thing, and his amulet. He starts fucking around with this blue ball. Which is how he gets to chat to Monitor. Apparently the Death's Head has escaped and he has to cross over. Fuck.
Bad news.
Oh no. Oh, I hate doing that. He travels through a big door in the map. Oh, there's a really lovely shot actually of this castle floating in space.
Yeah, it's like a prison, right?
Yeah,
Space prison.
Yeah, it's a space prison where Cabal was kept and where his Hellspawn is now kept. So we meet Gunnar, who's a blind guard. Cabal melted his eyeballs out.
Yes, great.
Not nice. So the Hellspawn are trapped in a big pipe.
Yep, that's true.
Thankfully,
I trapped him in a pipe as best I could, Dr. Mordrid.
I did my best. Mordrid also heals Gunnar's eyes, so he has pretty fantastic abilities.
Yeah.
He's just like, here's your eyes back.
When he's got when he's wearing the amulet. When you take his amulet away, he's more regular. It's a bit vague. It's all very look. A lot of this is quite vaguely defined. Sometimes you can astrally project your spirit form somewhere else, but while you're doing that, you can't do anything. But sometimes you can do things. Sometimes you can cast spells while you're a spirit.
Yeah.
And when you're a spirit, you can't be hurt, but sometimes you can be hurt.
The internal logic is a bit confusing. I tried not to get tripped up on it because I was enjoying watching it.
Yes.
But also I was kind of like, why did that happen though? Couldn't you just explain it? Couldn't you put something in the script that explained that?
But then the movie would go for an hour and 5 minutes, not an hour and 4 minutes.
Well, we can't have that.
We can't have that, no.
So eventually Mordrid invites Sam into the flat. He says, make yourself comfortable even though there's only one usable chair that I can see.
Classic guy, yeah.
So it's like, he's got lots of furniture, but it's all being used. Like there's little chairs, but they've got stuff on them. The only chair he has is a big armchair that he uses for his teleporting.
Yeah, sure.
So it's not even like he doesn't have a sofa or
Yeah,
anything.
he's got a sofa, but it's covered in books, and there's just a gaming chair.
Yeah.
in the middle of the room
Yeah.
so you can play PS5 on it.
He brings in a lawn chair from the garage when he has
Yeah.
visitors. We find
He's
out
probably got one pillow in his bed.
and no sheets.
Yeah.
Just a raw mattress.
Yeah.
And a filthy doona without a cover.
Yeah.
Samantha's job is a little bit like, and I may be reaching here, but it's a little bit like Combs's job in The Frighteners. She's a special consultant to the NYPD, looking at cults and, the spirit, the wacky stuff.
People were loving that in the 90s. They were like, what's out there? Because this is pre-internet.
Yeah.
So you could be like, there's nothing out there. Just
Yeah.
idiots.
You
just
couldn't-
bored teenagers. Just burning crop circles into stuff.
Yeah,
Crops.
you couldn't watch
I guess.
you couldn't watch videos of apparent ghost sightings and be able to immediately realize it's not real.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just, or the best you could find was just a VHS, like a fifth-hand copy VHS of something. And you'd be like, wow, this is a real alien autopsy.
But how do you know it's not, Meso? How do you know that everyone isn't lying to you about there being aliens and that we autopsy them?
That's a good question, actually.
I should get Tom DeLonge on the podcast.
should get Tom on.
So we cut to a church where there's this punk couple.
Yes.
And they're getting...
You say that with such disdain.
No, I'm just setting the scene.
Okay.
I'm just saying that they're a bit wacky.
And they probably don't pay taxes.
Yeah, I bet they're on the dole.
Yeah.
And they pierce their eyeballs or whatever. They're getting ready for some sort of ritual. They appear to be followers of Cabal. I don't know how people on Earth know about Cabal.
Yeah, because this is pre-social media.
Well, I guess it's kind of like whenever I've watched the Thor movies,
Yes.
I'm always very surprised at the fact that people on Earth think of people like Thor as like celebrities.
Yeah, right.
So this is just so the Thor universe isn't just the idea about like that there are actually other worlds and other universes with gods and goddesses and all that stuff, but the fact that we as Earth are like privy to that and like fans of it.
Yeah. I mean, he's in the Avengers, so I suspect that in those movies, like people don't necessarily know all the meat and potatoes, but they do know Thor saved New York that time, so
Yeah.
they're on board with it.
Yeah, so it's like it's Earth that's exactly the same as the Earth we know, except they're superheroes.
Correct. Yes.
Cabal does kill the young woman, but he does, for some reason, he leaves a big burning imprint of his ring in her forehead, which has the same symbol that is on Doctor Mordrid's amulet.
Oh no! Are they connected in some way?
Oh, I reckon.
Wow.
Maybe. You'll have to bloody wait and see, mate.
I wouldn't have done that if I were him.
No.
I wouldn't have left any clues. But I guess he's like, Cabal's got to be Cabal. You know, I got to get my brand out there.
By branding women. The body is found. One of Sam's, slimy detective friends. He finds the photos. She recognizes the symbol of the ring from Mordred's pendant.
And she's like, this is cool.
I recognize this. What a cool dude. Mordrid...
And at no point suspects him, I don't think.
No, she's just like, I'll ask him if he knows anything about this.
Cool, yeah, this weirdo that...
I've met once.
Yeah, I'm going to go into his house again and see how this goes.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling about him.
Yeah.
This mysterious man who has my rent checks. Mordrid has there's a scene where he has to stab himself with a bunch of clear knives or daggers, perhaps.
But the reason for that, ironically, is very unclear.
Yes, they are called the Crystals of Endor.
Mm-hmm. I assume he was chucking him in his tummy for later.
To eat?
No, for like my assumption was he was going to put them all in his tum, and then later he was going to fight this dude, and then he was going to be like, but surprise, I've got all these knives in me. You thought I didn't have any weapons, but I've got all these knives in my tum.
Ah, got knives.
But then that didn't happen.
You saucy minx.
But then he's interrupted, so maybe that was the plan, but he's interrupted about halfway through.
He just pops them in, like
Yeah.
putting a tape in a VCR, like chunk.
Do we ever... Look, maybe I tuned out for a minute, but do we ever explain... Does it ever explain why he's doing that?
I think the way the Cabal react to it, it is implied that it's a sort of protection.
Ah.
So Cabal has his big speech about wanting to use the Earth, power-mad megalomaniac, kind of classic...
I'm a power-mad megalomaniac. It's good to be honest about these things, he says.
I am who I am.
Yeah, Cabal's got to be Cabal.
Yeah, he has his big monologue.
Why care you what happens to these vermin? What difference does it make if I want this dying planet?
That's not what our power is for.
For what then? For 10 of their centuries we've lived on the other side waiting. waiting for our chance to take our rightful place as gods in a godless world.
The sorcerer is not a god.
He is if he chooses to be. If he teaches these animals the real meaning of fear by bringing forth their worst nightmares. Nightmares I can control.
Mordrid is unfortunately taken in by the cops on suspicion of the killing that Cabal did.
You know what I would have done, and this happens off screen, but what I would have done as Doctor Mordrid, probably do that Men in Black thing.
Maybe, because it doesn't show the scene where they go to the apartment to accost him. Mm-hmm. I feel like he could have done something at that point rather than let them haul him down to the station.
Correct, and take his amulet away.
They took his amulet away. He's trying to explain the sorcery and alchemy to these dumb shit NY cops. There's a great scene where Sam goes into chat with Mordrid, and he's expressing how much he needs his amulet back. There's a great shot, and I don't know why this pleases me, but the shot of him very easily snapping out of his handcuffs. I can't quite decide if I found that very sexy or not.
Okay, sure.
It's showing it's telling you a lot about me as a person.
Very, yes. He does it twice as well.
He does it.
You should cut those together and put it on a loop.
Yep. Slow it down 20%.
Yep.
Put it up on German YouTube. I'm sure it'd be fun. Yes, he snaps out of them and he's like, look, the handcuffs aren't the problem. You know, I need the amulet for other stuff. Eventually we get to the story of Mordrid and Cabal's relationship. But basically they were sorcery students together.
Are they brothers?
No, it's sort of implied they were brothers in sorcery.
Oh, okay, sure.
Because they definitely don't look anything alike.
Magic bros.
You've never seen two people look less alike.
That's true.
So yeah, they were sorcery students together. One went good, one went bad. You know where that's going.
Where's the people who are going middle? You know?
I think they just ended up becoming accountants.
Oh yeah, it's probably true, but magic accountants.
Yeah, they could just magic the numbers around.
Oh,
The amulets are the source of their true powers.
Where do you think they got the amulets?
An even greater sorcerer.
Oh.
But then where did they get theirs?
Do you get one? Does everybody get one? If we got those amulets, could we do magic, do you think?
I feel like you have to put in a bit more work.
Oh, then I'm not going to do
like
I'm not going to do that.
I feel like you have to go to like a sorcery school.
Oh, like Sorcery TAFE. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
It's a week-long course.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to do like 5 full days, basically.
No.
Or 2 weeks of like part-time.
No, I'm not going to do it. And you'd have to go, and parking wouldn't be free. You'd have to pay for a parking, but I'm not going to do it.
Got to bring like lunches and provided.
You
provide your own lunch.
No, I don't want to do it.
And you get a certificate, but it's only like a Cert 3.
Yeah, nobody's gonna take that. They're gonna be like, what? Everybody's got a Cert 3 and having an amulet, so it's not worth the paper it's printed on. No, thank you. These guys can have their magic.
So Cabal puts a protection spell on his other accomplice, Adrian. Sprinkles him with a ground-up skull.
You don't see that many Adrians these days, but yeah, he does do that. Yes.
Yeah. He gets a giant mortar and pestle, and he crushes up a skull and just sprinkles it on Adrian's head.
Sure.
Is that how you protect people?
Yeah, he'll be picking that out of his hair for weeks.
Oh, I've got skull in my hair again.
Yes.
So the follower Adrian is trying to get himself arrested. I assume because he wants to be where Mordrid is.
He could just walk in though, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he's invulnerable now.
Yeah. He tries to get himself shot and killed by the cops because obviously they shoot you if you're doing anything untoward. So Cabal needs to get to the Philosopher's Stone, which I thought was just a Harry Potter thing. No,
it's a whole thing. It's a real thing.
It's a real stone?
No, it's a fictional stone.
Oh, I don't know. I'm very easily tricked.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, no, it's
in... Dr. Mordrid says that it's in the Cosmopolitan Museum. Did they mean the Metropolitan Museum?
Maybe there's it's New York, right? Maybe the New York Metropolitan Museum is trademarked, so they can't use it.
Yeah, I thought so.
So it's just a very vague museum called the Cosmopolitan Museum. Maybe it's owned by the magazine.
Why not just call it the museum?
Yep.
Do you want to know about the Philosopher's Stone, Mesa?
Yes.
I'm
here to learn.
Yep. So it's a mythical alchemical substance capable of turning base metals, such as mercury, into gold.
That's what they all wanted. They all wanted that back in the day.
It is also called the elixir of life.
Oh, see, they didn't realise that if you could turn anything into gold, overall value of gold would drop.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, also, gold isn't always useful.
So ideally, the Philosopher's Stone would turn base metals into 7-Eleven sausage rolls, which is what we all want. Base
metal. That's how I think of Metallica.
Oh, you You are taking shots at all the bigwigs right now.
There's no stopping me.
Wow.
So he needs to get to the museum. Mordrid has to transport himself because he's worried about the traffic.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And she's like, why don't you fly? Why doesn't he fly? Why
Yeah.
can't he fly? Because that would be too expensive, I assume, to do.
It is just so funny hearing a sorcerer say it'll take an hour in this traffic because that should be the least of your concerns. Why do you even have a car?
Yeah.
So he needs Sam to guard his mortal form while he transports to the museum to fight Cabal. There's this great sequence with where Cabal goes to the museum and interacts with a kid.
Man, they sure were giants.
I remember them being much bigger.
Dickhead.
Yeah, I like that kid. He was fun.
I liked his stupid haircut.
All kids in the 90s had stupid hair. I bet you had a stupid haircut in the 90s.
No, my hair was normal. Like it's normal now.
Yep.
I always look normal.
I can only assume you have looked exactly the same your entire life.
Always normal.
Just smaller.
No, always the same.
Yep. It's like baby Meso came out with glasses and a big old beard.
Yep.
You're an aberration. Your parents were horrified.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Cabal does get to the stone, though.
Yeah. Real easy.
Yeah, pours a bunch of like different goos and stuff in it, glittery goo.
It's more like it's like a bathroom basin, really.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a big brick with a dish in it, and he
Yeah.
pours stuff in it. It's like, and he's got to mix all his elements in it.
I love Mordred's outfit in this scene. Mm-hmm. The electric blue jumpsuit.
Yep.
I love it.
But no cape though.
No cape in this scene. He has a cape towards the start of the movie.
Yes.
I really like it. I like electric blue. I love a jumpsuit. I think
Yes.
they're really comfortable and they can be very flattering.
Mm-hmm. Probably got pockets for all his magic stuff.
Yep, you got to have pockets because superheroes, they don't market handbags to superheroes. It's a good fit, but
Batgirl's costume used to have a handbag in it.
really?
This is like in the 70s.
Oh, really? Oh, of course. What'd the handbag have in it?
Oh no, like it like
Lipstick?
yeah, no, like her handbag turned into a utility belt.
Oh,
Like she turned it inside out.
oh, okay. So it was meant to look like she's just a dainty lady with a handbag, but it
Correct.
turns out she's dangerous.
Yep, that's right.
Ah,
She knows the art of karate.
flipping the sexist stereotype upon its head.
Yeah,
How progressive.
very much so.
Not going to ask any further questions about that.
I
from
wouldn't.
The 70s?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't ask.
I'm just going to assume it's fine and not dig any further.
Good.
Cabal reanimates the T-Rex, the skeleton,
Yes, that's right.
and
How cosmopolitan.
it doesn't look amazing.
Yep.
It looks a bit Harryhausen.
But that's cool.
It is kind of cool. It's a little bit retro. It's kind of it's funny. It's funny. It's not scary, but it's just kind of funny to see the T-Rex because then Mordred reanimates, I think, a mastodon.
Something like that.
Something with big tuskies.
If you go onto YouTube and you type in Doctor Mordrid, YouTube will autocomplete Doctor Mordrid dinosaur fight. Because clearly that is what people are here for. This is what people want. They want two skeleton dinosaurs fighting each other in stop motion.
I guess my goal for this podcast is to make the most popular search term to be Doctor Mordred handcuff scene slowed down 20%.
Yeah.
So Mordred's reanimated mastodon, they have a dinosaur fight with their various... The Hellspawn start emerging.
They're going to come out of that pipe.
They're going to come out of the hell pipe.
Because that's the whole point of this thing with the dish and the sink and the magic stuff.
Yeah, you want the alchemy sink to release the Hellspawn from the shit pipe,
Yep.
to kill Gunnar,
Yeah.
and take over the Earth.
Yeah.
What's hard to understand about that,
Very easy.
audience?
What audience are you berating there?
Stupid audiences that didn't appreciate Dr. Mordrid at the time.
Wow, yep.
So Mordred, thankfully, he gets the mastodon to impale Cabal,
Yeah.
and Cabal disappears quite easily. Like, it's kind of anticlimactic, right?
Right,
Like,
very much so.
he just kind of goes bloop, and he's gone.
Yeah.
And that's the end of this incredibly, apparently powerful sorcerer that he was up against.
I would have done that ages ago. If I were Dr. Mordrid, I would have been like, waited for this guy to, go down the shops
Yeah.
or whatever, and then I'd kill him with a mastodon.
Oh, so you would have still used the mastodon no matter what?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of another way. I can't think of any other way you'd kill a sorcerer.
No, just mastodon.
Yeah.
Because you'd think that he was like, I went like this sequence, delightful dinosaur fight though it was, I'm like, well, probably this guy is immune to all mortal harm or whatever. Like, because he made his friend invulnerable to bullets. So presumably, but maybe it's because it's a magic mastodon now.
Yeah, there's something about the use of the magic, because there's no fight scene.
Yeah.
With Mordrid and Cabal, presumably because it would have looked insane to have Jeffrey Combs, not an incredibly tall man compared to Brian Thompson. Brian Thompson has got to be fucking 7 foot tall or something.
Maybe that's all movie magic.
It could be. He always seems tall. I mean, I think when I've seen him in X-Files, he always seems tall compared to Duchovny. And I think Duchovny's quite tall, isn't he?
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it would have been very hard to choreograph a really good-looking fight scene with these two people. And they also just wouldn't have probably had the money to do it entirely with magic. Because
the magic is mostly just them shooting like yellow zaps at each other. They only had $2 million.
They only had $2 million.
And sure, it was 1990s dollars.
There's some fun stuff that happens. Mm-hmm. But obviously, they could only do so much. Jeffrey Combs' performance,
yes,
I think, does a lot for it. I know that. So, in an interview that I read with him, I know that he was obviously, super excited to do the role, and he enjoyed it. But so he said this about doing the film.
And this is just off the top of your head.
Yep, I've memorized it.
Oh, here we go.
He said, it was a very good experience. I enjoyed making that movie, but I just wish that I had been a little more involved in the creation of the character. Although I had been talking with Charles Band, for quite a while, I never got to look at a script, basically until we were about ready to go. I wish that I had, because I would have liked to have had the character be a bit more active. He could have used a little more humour. I found myself just standing around reacting to what everyone else was doing, as opposed to instigating things myself. It's a very difficult thing to sustain as an actor, because act implies acting. To act and be active. Just to be reacting is not the same thing. There's talk of a second one.
When did this interview come out?
I know. I actually don't know when this interview was. So I do wonder how far after the original movie this was. But there's talk of a second one. I told Charlie, I just hope I'll be a little more involved instead of standing on the sidelines a lot. And he said, oh yeah, we'll shoot you out of a cannon.
Okay, cool.
So I can
that would get him across traffic
quite easily. So I can definitely see what he means by that, by not only the sort of lack of humor in the character, but also the fact that it's not terribly Combsian.
Ah.
It could have been...
Is that a term you've invented?
Yes.
What does it mean? What defines Combsian to you?
It is the essence of which he plays his characters.
Which is what? Give me some examples.
Okay,
what's the most Combsian role?
Well, you would argue it's Herbert West.
But from Reanimator.
Yes, but he brings a lot of this particular Combsian style into other things. He plays crazy very well, and that sounds easier than it is, because everyone's like, oh, that's just like what Nick Cage does. He just yell a lot. But whenever I've seen him play, I guess, a quote-unquote normal character, like there's a movie that I watched where he has a cameo as just like a dad.
Yep.
And I was like, what is this? This is just a normal dude. This isn't what Jeffrey Combs does.
Okay.
He's very good at playing eccentric, crazy, high energy, clever, and funny. Like, he's very good at funny. And there's no jokes. Doctor Mordrid is he's a bit dour. I definitely also would have liked to have seen just a bit more levity.
I bet there's one joke in there. If we were to go back, and we won't. But I bet there's one.
I think that there's what the film would describe as a joke, or maybe a humorous line.
Oh, yes.
But it's not a quote-unquote funny film.
It's actually, considering how much it cost, or how little it cost, it's pretty good.
Yeah, look, I genuinely like Doctor Mordrid. Like, I think it's, for the effects, I don't think are as jarring as other films were at the time. Like, it's entertaining. And again, so much of the character of Dr. Mordrid gets by on the sort of charm with which Jeffrey Combs plays these characters, even though he obviously wasn't given very much freedom in the role. So back at Mordred's body, he's actually just about to be stabbed by Adrian.
Oh, Adrian, what are you like?
I know, what a dick. But thankfully, even though Sam is trying to protect him, Mordrid comes awake and unfreezes just in time and freezes freezes Adrian, and Sam just kicks him in the balls.
Yeah.
Like, just right in the ghoulies.
I feel he's not the ideal target for being kicked in the balls. Like, I think the slimy cops should have been kicked in the balls.
Yep.
I think they all should have been kicked in the balls. This guy's just a devil worshipper. You know?
Yeah,
He's just confused.
Yeah. He's obviously just really into Cabal, and maybe he just, it's like with Scientology, people just need something to believe in.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would have frozen those cops and kicked them in the balls.
I would have frozen the entire NYPD.
Wow. And given them medals because
Yeah.
you love them so much.
For being so great.
Wow.
Oh, even ironically, that feels gross to say. Unfortunately, Mordrid is immediately summoned back by Monitor. He has to go and do other journeys,
Yep.
other things.
Yeah.
It's not clear.
You've got to be a landlord in a different plane of existence. You've got to collect that money, Mordrid.
It's actually not
You've
said.
got to not fix any of the utilities, Mordrid.
Yeah, I wonder if he was a good landlord.
You've got to promise that this place has a washer and dryer, but it doesn't, Mordrid.
You say it's a 2-bedroom, but it's actually 1 bedroom and a closet.
Mm-hmm.
Sam wants to come with him, which is one of the first times that we think that there might actually be a romantic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they were supposed to have a romantic connection?
Yep, definitely.
That doesn't come across strong enough.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Well, there's not enough time.
Yeah.
If this were the kind of movie production where they were to film extra stuff and then delete some of it and some of it will be left on the cutting room floor, I would assume that one of those things would be some scenes where they have some romantic chemistry. But because this is a movie where they literally film everything that goes on screen and nothing is taken out, I would say they probably just didn't do that. Just didn't have time.
Is that how they make films? They actually film a lot of it and then they cut it down.
That's correct, yes.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
assumed you just filmed every single thing and then you put it all in there, regardless of whether it makes sense or not.
Oh, like Zack Snyder's Justice League, yes. Yeah.
Oh, a reference.
So
I
it's the
don't
cheap
get.
stuff and the really, really expensive stuff.
I didn't mind the relationship they had, to be honest. Like, I didn't want it to be romantic because
You want to marry Jeffrey Combs.
obviously, no, because I think it's just, it's always nice when a romance isn't shoehorned in where it doesn't really match. Like, there's no reason that a male and female leads can't just have a platonic relationship.
That's true, and maybe it was more like it was. I think perhaps it was there was room to interpret it two ways. Like it might be like that situation where Doctor Who has companions.
That's true.
I call him Doctor Who, or her. It's Doctor Who. That's his name. And they just go on it. They just. She's just like, I'd like to see other worlds and go on adventures in other dimensions and things.
Yeah. Actually, that could have been closer to what it was. She's like, my life is boring. I want to join you on your adventures, and you seem really interesting.
Yeah.
And then he busts out a whole new world.
Yeah.
And
Filled
then-
with slimy, other dimensional cops who don't respect her either.
Exactly.
She's like, this sucks in every dimension.
So some time passes.
Yes.
So we cut back to Mordred's apartment where Sam is now. Does she live in that apartment now? Not clear.
She's squatting, yes.
Yeah. So she's just kind of there.
She's stopped paying rent because why
Who's
would
gonna
she?
stop her?
Nobody's gonna.
So it is Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Because the first shot we see after this is a Christmas tree. After Mordrid has said goodbye and disappeared,
Yes.
and then we cut to the flat, how much time do you think has passed?
100 years.
Probably not.
No, less than that, probably, yeah.
Because Sam looks
10 minutes?
Sam looks exactly the same age.
Somewhere in the middle.
So somewhere between 10 minutes and 100 years,
Yes.
you reckon?
Yeah.
2 weeks?
Yeah, okay, 2 weeks.
Yeah. Sam is in Mordred's flat talking to Edgar, and she talks about, you know what? I'll play the clip and you can decide for
I'll
yourself.
judge for myself.
Yeah.
I'm ready to judge.
Oh, no offense, Edgar. But there are other people I'd rather be spending my Christmas with. You'll have your bird seeds, I'll have some eggnog, and we'll watch It's a Wonderful Life for the 100th time. Guess it could be worse.
It could be better.
So she's like, we're going to watch It's a Wonderful Life for the 100th time,
Uh-huh.
possibly being hyperbolic.
Yes.
And then Dr. Mordrid appears.
Yes.
Again, not clear how long it's been gone. And he says that they will watch their movie for the first time.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
Why is it their movie,
Don't
for
know.
one? Why is it the first time?
Right?
Who's been watching it before? She's just been watching it with the bird.
Do you think it's not It's a Wonderful Life, but 1992's Batman Returns for the first time. He's like, let's go out and watch the movie Batman Returns. Starring Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, okay, yeah, because so she was like, I normally watch It's a Wonderful Life with Edgar the Bird.
Yes.
But our movie that I share with you, Doctor Mordrid,
Batman Returns.
is actually Batman Returns.
Yeah.
I mean, it is better.
And it's Christmas.
I would argue that Batman Returns is a better film than It's a Wonderful Life, and I don't care who knows it.
Wow.
That ending was really confusing for me. I just didn't know how much time I was meant to be passing and what those last couple of lines meant.
I think maybe nothing. They said, just say this. How do we end this? And somebody came on set and was like, just say this. And he went, I guess so.
Yeah, it's like it sounds vaguely romantic and poetic.
Yeah.
But is it?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Let's put it in there.
They were probably
We've only
like,
got 5 minutes left to film.
and it's okay because no one will watch this, they probably said.
Lisa will watch it.
They said in the future, Lisa will watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And look, lots of other people. There's a lot of Doctor Mordrid gifs online.
Uh-huh.
People just loving the shit out of JC as old DM. You know, I've watched a lot of Jeffrey Combs movies. You know, before doing the podcast and since.
Wait, you've done a thing before doing a podcast about it?
Obviously.
Wow.
Yep.
Never,
I'm
not for me.
I'm not just about content.
No, I'm all about content. I only do content stuff.
I've watched a lot of them, and there's some films that, you know, he's just sort of in.
Yep.
But in this, I think he was trying really hard to make the character his own to the best of his abilities, obviously. And it's a great performance. He's really good. Yeah, so without comparing it to Doctor Strange or other superhero
I give this movie an A++.
A++.
The second highest rating I can give.
Obviously, you don't have to give it that because I like it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because you seem like you didn't like it.
No, I liked it. I had fun with it. I thought it was fun. And it was brief, which I enjoyed. Movies are too long these days, Lisa.
Movies are quite long. What's the longest movie that you've watched?
Well, Justice League was 4 hours.
You watched all of it?
Yeah.
That's so long.
It's very long.
And is it enjoyable?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
long
then-
though.
Well, then it's an alright 4 hours then.
Take a couple of days. Watch it 2 hours at a time.
So, Meso,
Yes.
anything to plug, mate?
No.
Nothing?
I've got a podcast called The Weekly Planet. We talk about movies and TV shows and comic books and stuff.
Yeah?
We'd cover a Doctor Mordrid at some point, probably.
Yeah.
You know? We might talk at some point. We'll probably talk about the Doctor Strange pilot that came out in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
I just love getting out here and doing podcasts. That's what I'm plugging. Listen to everybody's podcast. That's what I say.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, Meso.
What a pleasure.
Thank you for coming into the Jeffrey Combs bungalow.
Yeah, very, very nice. I like it. And as we always say here at Reanimates, at the end, we have a catchphrase to sign off, don't we?
Nope.
Wow. Well, you got to work on that. You don't have to have one now. I'm just saying, people love them. People love a catchphrase.
They do. I mean, please, anyone listening, give me some suggestions for a sign-off, because I haven't been able to think of a good one. I think I wasted all of my good creative potential thinking of the name.
And that's it. That's all that's in the tank. There's nothing left.
But as usual, you can find Reanimates on all the usual socials, at ReanimatesPod on Twitter and Instagram. There's Reanimates Podcast on Facebook. There's a Tumblr now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Put all those gifs on it.
I'm loving the Combs content on Tumblr. There is just some devoted stanners on there, and I'm like, yes, I
Right.
found my people.
There we go.
Yeah.
Terrific.
And as usual, I'll be putting them up on YouTube, but you know, you can find the link tree and listen however you damn well please.
I will.
Not your damn mother.
Whoa.
I'm talking to the audience, not you.
Okay, cool, great.